Jake, thank you for joining me today on Pop Culture Unplugged.
Appreciate it.
We have Elio in a few days. How excited are you about this project? I've been seeing previews everywhere. Every time I go to the movie theaters with my kids, I something pops up with that.
Yeah, I mean, I was actually funny enough. I was at the theater yesterday. I was watching Mission Impossible, and they were doing a screening for Elio as I was walking out. So I saw like they had a little booth and everything there. It was pretty cool. But yeah, I'm really excited. I see the billboards, the bus stops everywhere. It's really exciting. I can't wait.
How did you get involved with this project with Pixar, and how did you land the role of Caleb?
Uh, back in back in 2022, we did the auditions, and it was just like every other voiceover audition. Um, and like 6 months went by, like a massive period of time. So it was the last thing on my mind. And then, I got an email that they wanted to do a callback and then producer session, and then it went from there. And then, I got the job a couple months after that, and we started doing it in I want to say February of 2023. So it's been a long road, but I'm really glad to be here. It's been an amazing experience and really, really fun.
Mm. What did you enjoy about Caleb? From what I've been reading everywhere, he's your average school bully, not your average school bully.
Yeah. He was an interesting character, because he changed a lot as the movie goes. Like, he's not necessarily a bad guy, right? Like in the movie, he's not he comes across a certain way. I don't know if I'm saying it right, but he comes across a certain way, but that's not necessarily means he's a bad guy. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
he's got his own issues just like every other human, right? At the end of the day, this movie's about people that can relate, people can relate to these characters. So he's a human just like anybody else. He makes mistakes, he expresses himself wrong. And I think that's the moral of the story is that these are people at the end of the day making mistakes, and that's how you learn and you grow.
What was your approach to bringing him to life?
Uh, The writing, I mean, the writing does a massive portion of it. I see the script, I go, okay, this is how it's going to go, and I do my best to emulate what they put on the page, and I hope I did it this, but I really loved playing him. He's a really cool guy.
Mm. How different would you say is Caleb in as an animated bully compared to like other similar characters we've seen throughout the in Pixar world or animation world?
Yeah. Um, well, Caleb is more of a big brother bully, right?
Yeah.
He's not like the type of guy he like Sid, right? Like Sid from Toy Story. That guy's a bully. Like
Okay.
he's a
Yeah.
mean guy, right? Versus Caleb, who's, he's mean, but he's not necessarily a bad person versus Sid, who's probably pretty black-hearted.
Yeah.
Sid's a pretty
Yeah.
messed up kid. But Caleb, I think he's got redemption qualities.
Mm. Did Pixar give you like a lot of freedom to play with Caleb's voice and humor, or was it like locked in with a certain way they wanted it done?
I mean, there was a general idea of how he was, right?
Yeah.
He's a bully, but it's not necessarily his fault, right? Like a lot of it is Elio's doing. So he's just reacting off of a situation that he's in, right? Just like a human.
Mm.
So it wasn't that they said you have to play this guy angry, he's always
Yeah.
mad. It was more, be human about it because
Mm.
he's got those qualities.
Mm. Did you get to record with any other cast members, or was this like a solo session every time?
Oh, solo session all the time. Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, we first started in Glendale, and then we did the rest of it in Toluca Lake. But yeah, I don't get to meet anybody, and that's the case oftentimes. But
yeah.
yeah, it was cool meeting everybody at the premiere, being able to see everybody and say, "Oh, so that's the name to the character and that's the face,"
Mm.
and
Mm.
connecting the dots.
Yeah. Without giving any spoilers away, do you have a favorite Caleb moment in the movie?
Caleb moment, I gotta say, well, I think he's got a lot of moments where he kind of shows that he kind of has a sort of animosity, but it's not that he's mad at Elio, he's mad at the situation.
Mm,
And I think that moment where the turning point is my favorite part, where it turns from he's not angry, right? But he is really frustrated. Now he's going to take it out
mm,
on someone else. You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
the turning point from now we were cool, now we're not. So I think that kind of shift was my favorite part,
Mm,
seeing it go from
yeah.
you know
Was there
yeah.
like a line or a scene that was especially tricky or like fun to record?
um that's a good question. There was a lot of things. I mean, in the booth they have you doing all types of stuff that sometimes doesn't even make it into the
Yeah.
movie. There was a lot of vocals and screams, or a lot of it's loud, right? Like he's kind of yelling. um So I think doing that was a challenge. I mean, every voiceover actor has been through that where they're like, my throat is killing me after
Yeah.
the session. But I think that was definitely a fun part in doing it was all of the range, right? Because
Mm,
it's not necessarily, you know, anger, but he's kind of working up to it. So I think the escalation was
mm.
fun to record.
What was your reaction when the first time you saw what Caleb looked like in the animated form? And did that did
Yeah.
that did that influence you at all, the way you wanted to voice him?
Um, Sort of. I mean, they first showed him to me in Glendale when we did the first recording in
Okay.
2023, and they showed me like a little clip and what he looked like, and I was like, oh, okay, so that's what he looks like. And it was interesting. I definitely I saw him in a different way now because obviously you see what you want to see and you have your idea, but seeing him there sort of puts a face to the page, and I think
Mm,
that is really important that hey, okay, so this is the guy. It doesn't necessarily change too drastically how you say it or what you do, but
yeah.
it's cool to know that that's kind of your mouthpiece is going to be that face and that.
Mm. What I like about these Pixar films, they have like a powerful message or a theme, like what do you hope the audience takes away from this story with the young viewers that might relate to either Caleb or Elio?
Yeah, I mean, I think the movie is all about finding yourself and knowing that
Yeah.
you're not alone, right? For people that are struggling with that, where they feel maybe alone or they feel that they're the only ones that understand themselves and they just feel isolated. This movie is to tell them, hey, you're not alone.
Yeah.
There's other people like you. You have the right to feel that way, and you can get past that ultimately. So I think it's a movie to kind of affirm people and make them feel comforted and safe that they're not wrong for feeling the way that they feel.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. Was there
Yeah.
any moments during the recording that really stuck with you or like gave you like a lot of meaningful things?
Um, I think working with all the people was especially in the booth because you don't work with the other actors, but you do work pretty closely with the directors and you work with all the other writers and other people on the call that don't because they have like a little Zoom call and the
Yeah.
thing and they all have their cameras turned off, so I don't know who's who, but it's cool hearing people chime in and say, oh, okay, how about this? And then it kind of guides the story because sometimes you'll hear a voice out the corner of the screen say, "Hey, can we try it this way?" And how about
Yeah.
that? And I'm like, "Okay, yeah, I didn't think about that." So I think recording it is really interesting because it changes actively.
Mm,
So you might say it one way, 10 seconds, and then 20 seconds later, it's a whole new direction.
mm,
Um, and that's really fun to play. I mean, I don't know how many times that happens with other, things like theatrical movies. They pretty much have that down pat, but with voiceover, you can play around with all the ways that you want to say it. And I think that's what's really fun about recording it is you can go every way. You can try it happy, sad, angry,
yeah.
everything. There's range and you can play with that.
Mm. Now you've done all this voiceover work the last few years. Is there like a dream voiceover role that you kind of hope you play a certain character or franchise you love to be part of?
I'd say this is it. I mean,
Yeah.
Pixar is definitely at the top of the board for voiceover, and that's kind of things where you're like, Pixar is there, right? Like every great classic animated movie has been Pixar. You've
Mm,
seen them and you've said oh, that's a Pixar movie, right? My first movie
Yeah.
was Cars 2. You know, I sat in the theater at I think like 3 or 4, and I was watching Cars 2. And so Pixar has definitely been there for me, at least when throughout my life. So being there to be a part of one right now is full circle and just amazing opportunity, you know.
Mm. Could you see a sequel with this movie or like a Caleb spin-off and watch see what he does?
I mean, sure, that'd be great, but I think there's definitely an Elio too. I hope they haven't told me anything, but I really hope there is an Elio too because the character's got so much to share and say and do. So I
Mm.
think seeing an Elio too would just be fantastic.
Would you want to spend a day in that universe if you could? The Elio
Oh yeah, I
universe?
mean, it was beautiful up there. You know, you see the colors, the imagery. It's really truly breathtaking. We saw it in 3D at the premiere, and that was amazing. I mean, just seeing everything literally coming off the screen, I was like, whoa. But yeah, that was excellent. Yeah.
What's next for you now? Any other projects you're allowed to tell us about that you're working on or coming out?
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna record a short in a couple days, but I also did a another voiceover project, a podcast called Montecito. It's kind of like a it's a drama kind of soap opera podcast that takes place in Montecito, as the name suggests. But yeah, that's what I have out right now. But if you follow me on Instagram, I'll also post updates and stuff like that. My handle's at Jake Getman and just my name. So I always post stuff like that to keep me up to date. But I also have an Apple commercial out, funny enough, right now, with just me and the woman who plays my mom, and I get that a lot. I'll be eating dinner and people will be like, "Hey, is are you that guy?" I was at the premiere and people were like, "Hey, you're that guy from that Apple commercial." I was like, "How did you get here?" And I'm like, "I'm in Elio too." So you
Yeah.
know, it was cool to see that.
Yeah, how crazy was that it went viral like that, that commercial?
Still blows my mind. I mean, I was never expecting that. I've been in half a dozen commercials at this point, but you know, none of them have been, I guess, got me this sort of facial recognition. Like people see me on the street and they're like, "Hey, you know, aren't you that guy?" And that's never happened to me before, and I think it's kind of funny and cool to just have that happen, you know.
So you got that, you got Elio coming up in a few days. I mean, you're going up, my friend.
I appreciate it. Yeah, it's a beautiful opportunity. It's a amazing movie, and I'm just really glad and honored to be a part of it.
Amazing. Jake, how can the listeners, the viewers find you on social media and keep up with you?
Yeah, like I said, my handle on Instagram at Jake Getman. That's probably the best way to see. I post a lot of updates on there, just myself daily. Um, so yeah, this is my day to day is usually posted on there, and all my upcoming projects and updates also there.
Amazing. Jake, we'll have to get you back on. Thanks for giving us a few minutes today.
Thank you, appreciate it.